What's up, YouTube? It's Rugley. I'm riding solo today. It's week 2 of the Maple Cup. This is our Canadian Highlander League that we've been playing out of Game Castle in Ankeny. Feature match for today is yours truly at the top of your screen playing Mardu Initiative versus another dad. It's Jeremiah. At the bottom playing four color Stax. Stax, you say? That's a thing that usually happens in Commander games, right? In CDH, not something that, well, not something that I've ever seen in Canadian Highlander before. So let's break down Jeremiah's deck real quick. I think this deck is very, very sick. It's four color. If you're curious, the color that's missing is blue. So this is Abzan plus red or Mardu plus green. The points, as you can see on the right there, are Mox Jet, Mana Crypt, and Vampiric Tutor. Pretty straightforward stuff. So what makes it Stax? What makes this deck a Stax deck? Well, he's playing typical Stax pieces that you would see in Commander games. Ensnaring Bridge, Tangle Wire, Trinisphere, Winter Orb, stuff like that. And he also has, of course, the pointed mana rocks in Mox Jet and Mana Crypt. We've also got a Mox Opal, a Chrome Mox. There is no Mox Diamond, though. Not here. We've got a bunch of the most efficient and best removal in these colors. All-stars like Lightning Bolt, Swords to Plowshares, Newcomer, Bitter Triumph from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. A card that used to be pointed, but is no longer pointed, and Balance. A little bit of hand attack, and Duress, Him to Turok, Inquisition of Kozilek, and Mind Twist. A suite of Planeswalkers, including Comet Stellar Pup, Dihada, Binder of Wills, Minskin Boo, Renin 6, Duretti, Ingenious Iconoclast. And then some haymakers. A Chaos Defiler, of course. A Triumph of St. Catherine. The new Canadian Highlander All-Star Broadside Bombardiers. And a slurry of other cards in these colors. Yeah, this deck is very sweet. Haven't seen anything like this before. Of course, we've seen, the sort of like welder variants that come in these colors. But this deck is not playing welder. It's playing, more straightforward to the board. It doesn't need its graveyard as much. And I think this deck can create some really, really interesting game states where you have to have multiple pieces of removal for Jeremiah's Stax pieces and his Planeswalkers and then the heavy hitting creatures that are in there. I think this deck is great because it doesn't lose to the sort of graveyard hate effects that all of the green decks are playing now. Like a lot of these artifact synergy decks do. Again, because a lot of those decks are messing around with Goblin Welder and stuff like that. Jeremiah on a mulligan to 6 here in game 1. I believe I won the die roll. You can see Spencer standing behind Jeremiah there. That is his son, who's also playing in the Maple Cup. Oh, I need a drink. I had to grab my bottle of water, take care of some housekeeping while I was away from the table. You can see me there. I've got my flannel on. I've got my stocking cap on. That's because we got something like 20 inches of snow in the last week. And I got to stay warm. Jeremiah's going to keep 6, and I'll get things started off with a Bloodstained Mire. I'm going to crack that. Find a dual land. I'm going to cast a Mox Ruby. And here's an Inti, Cynical of the Sun. Inti is kind of the biggest reason why I wanted to play this deck. And throughout my games in the week, I got to cast Inti several times. I love this card. It's giving Lelia vibes, but the ability to place the +1/+1 counters on other creatures while giving them trample is absolutely insane. Jeremiah, just with a polluted delta, going to pass back over to me. Here comes Inti in the red zone. That'll get a trigger. I'm going to discard a Get Lost. It's going to exile a Dothy Voidwalker off the top of the deck. That can get played this turn. Jeremiah is just going to take 3. For main phase 2, it's an Ancient Tomb and a Comet Stellar Pup. This deck is firing on all cylinders. Turn 2 here, we've got a 3/3 Inti and now a dog. Jeremiah is under the gun. He's going to need something real powerful in order to catch up with me here. Comet doing Comet things. I'm going to roll a 3. That's going to -1 the Comet, and then I get to get a permanent back out of my graveyard. I'm going to pick up that Bloodstained Mire, and then we'll pass back over to Jeremiah. He's going to crack this polluted delta. It's going to find a Savai Triome. And I believe at this point, Jeremiah boxed the deck. Box in the deck. Says, I don't care. I'm just going to keep playing. What's Jeremiah got for me on turn 2? Can he answer the NT or the Comet? I'm way ahead on mana, way ahead on board. There's a Bayou. What's going to be the follow-up? Looks like nothing. He'll pass back over to me. I'm removing the die because someone stole the other one from the table, and I couldn't find it. And I wanted it, but it wasn't there. So I held the die up, and I said, who has this? Comet activation. That's going to roll a 1. 2 squirrels coming in. Of course, Comet should be at 6 loyalty now. Is there a follow-up before combat? There's the Bloodstained Mire. 5 mana now, casual 5 mana on turn 3. Creatures in the red zone. That's going to elicit a trigger from Inti. I'll discard a swamp. Exile a Dreadbore. I wouldn't like to destroy any of my other creatures, so that's just going to stay in exile. There I am. I caught the Comet. Should have been on 6 loyalty. Jeremiah is going to take 6 from the Inti and the squirrels, and I'll just pass back over to him. Jeremiah's going to take a draw step. See what he's got for turn number 3. It's a scoop. Jeremiah concedes to the fast start from the Mardu initiative deck. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this deck this week. So Jeremiah and I, we have a lot of overlap in our play styles. We both like to play. Hold on, pause. Can somebody tell me why, when you select Vintage in the companion app, it starts you at 40 life? Please, let me know down in the comments below why companion starts Vintage at 40 life. It's not a 40 life format. It's not. Oh, Jeremiah's going to go through and fix the deck that he boxed. Yeah, so Jeremiah and I, we have pretty similar play styles. We both kind of like to play slower, dirtier decks that you create really, really interesting game states. Something on the higher end of mid-range control decks. So knowing that, I didn't want to give Jeremiah any time to set up something busted, some control cockroach game state where I wasn't going to be able to beat him. So I decided I was just going to play an aggro deck now. There's several Mardu initiative decks online. This is by no means a brew that I thought up myself. In fact, this deck has done really well in tournaments recently. It won the last Win-A-Duel tournament at the store in Cedar Rapids at the end of 2023. So my list is a lot lower to the ground. I'm really, really high on the 2-drops, 1-drops and 2-drops, super interested in aggro. Not playing quite as many interactive spells as a lot of these decks are, really just the cream of the crop. And then I have a few Planeswalkers as well, playing old standard all-star Gideon Ally of Zendikar. People called for that card to be banned for a long time in standard. Never did get banned. The card's fair. Of course, the dog, you saw it perform there in that game, Comet Stellar Pup. I've also got a number of, well, they're not Stax pieces, but, creatures that sort of provide a taxing effect. Like you saw the Dothy Voidwalker in that game. I've also got Archon of Emeria, Graveyard Trespasser, Thalia, Heretic Cathar. Those are pretty standard for this archetype. Most of the initiative decks play those cards. That's by no means innovative. Just playing a lot lower to the ground. Basically, the idea was I didn't want to give Jeremiah a lot of time to set up one of these crazy board states. And you see right there, Jeremiah just going to snap off an immediate mulligan to 6 here in game 2. Not what you want to see. Hopefully, the discipline mulliganing is rewarding here for him. As far as I go, the only card I can really tell what's in my hand is Sokensen. I do see another land. There's a Chrome Mox, Rotting Regisaur. I believe that is a Seasoned Pyromancer. Rotting Regisaur has also done some work this week. That 3 mana 7/6, the ability to play that really, really early. Like if I start off with a Mox or a Mox with a Ancient Tomb or City of Traders or something like that, you can drop that card on turn 1. Things get out of hand really, really quickly. A lot of these decks will kind of shove out a Blood Moon really, really early, which is a great thing to do. It can turn off a lot of strategies and shut down their mana bases, but it doesn't make your opponent dead in 3 turns quite the same way that Rotting Regisaur does. I believe Jeremiah is going to keep 6 here, maybe just thinking about what's going to go to the bottom. It'll be that. And we're going to get started. Here is a Savannah and an Esper Sentinel. So Jeremiah playing to the board really, really early. This Chrome Mox in my hand is not looking so great now. Definitely a better start than last time. The Esper Sentinel can do some blocking as well as provide a taxing effect for me. So delightful conversation happening off screen. Let's go, Blake. Let's play Magic now. What do you think? You're some kind of celebrity? Think you can waste people's time and have a conversation? Is there something else I can help with? Ooh, my watch thought I was talking to it. No Siri. Thank you though. It's very kind of you. I gotta read Esper Sentinel real quick. Want to make sure that I don't just let Jeremiah draw a bunch of cards for no reason. And, oh, look, we finally decided to play Magic. Here is a Scrubland, and we'll just pass over to Jeremiah. So a faster start for Jeremiah, a slower start for me. Jeremiah's going to get in for 1. Here's a Badlands and a Duress. So cards are going to get laid on the table. We'll see what I'm up to. That is a Redcap Gutter Dweller. Really new sweet card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Redcap Gutter Dweller is a 4 mana 3/3 with Menace. When it enters the battlefield, you make 2 1/1 rats that can't block. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you can sacrifice a creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Redcap Gutter Dweller and exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn. There is also a Chrome Mox, a Persist, and I believe that is a Beseech the Mirror. Not 100% sure. Jeremiah is going to follow it up with a Candy Trail. He'll get a Scry 2. So taking the Chrome Mox here means that I can't play one of these 3 mana threats on my next turn. It's also kind of unfortunate because the only live non-creature spell that's in my hand is the Chrome Mox. So Jeremiah just deciding that it was better to keep me from playing to the board this turn, take care of that Chrome Mox. Unfortunate that he won't get to draw a card, but he'll pass back over to me. I draw a mystery card, play the Sokensen, and it's a 2-drop. Lucky me. Oh, wait, not a 2-drop, Dashing a Ragavan. That is going to exile a card from the top of Jeremiah's library. So this creature, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the creature that says that if a creature would enter on my side, I can choose to tap it. If I don't, he gets to draw a card. I'm just going to chuck that back at him because I can't cast it this turn. Ragavan's going to return to my hand after I make a treasure token, and we'll see what he's got. Here is a Taiga. What is the follow-up going to be? I believe that is an Oswald Fiddlebender. So it's sort of a birthing pod on a stick for artifacts. So next turn, Jeremiah would be able to turn that Candy Trail into a Winter Orb or another 2 mana artifact that's in the deck. So he's just going to pass back over to me, take a draw step. Dashing the Ragavan doesn't seem great here. I am going to do it, though. I will offer the trade. Jeremiah blocks with the Esper Sentinel. I'm okay with this exchange. Caracas, off the top, is going to take care of Oswald Fiddlebender. I don't know if I could have possibly asked for a better draw there. That Caracas that I drew for the turn, being able to deal with that Oswald after he traded the Esper Sentinel for my Ragavan, just fantastic stuff. Oswald Fiddlebender. Going to do his best Rishadan Port impression. I'm going to take a draw step. I got to admire this mountain art real quick. If you haven't seen that, it's got like I don't remember if it's like a dog or a cat or something in the art, but it's like, I don't know. It's a very, very pretty secret layer mountain. I really got to think this turn over. I don't want to let him untap and be able to start using that Oswald Fiddlebender, so I'm just going to cast this Seasoned Pyromancer, ditch a couple of these cards that I can't make use of, draw a couple off the top. Hopefully I'll be able to make my land drop this turn, continue to advance my board state. But the important thing is that I'm keeping that Caracas up. I don't want him to be able to start pulling whatever cards he wants out of his deck. Tutoring in your 100 card singleton deck, it turns out it's one of the best things that you can do. Really just get rid of all of that variance. Discarding a Rotting Regisaur and the Beseech the Mirror for a couple of cards off the top, a couple of 1/1 elementals, and there is the Badlands. Caracas is going to take care of Oswald, and we'll pass back over to Jeremiah. Looks like he is going to crack the Candy Trail to gain some life at the end of the turn. And here is an Inquisition of Kozilek. So that reveals a Seasoned Dungeoneer, a Raptor, Persist. So the only card he can take is the Persist. And Oswald has rejoined the foray. I'm going to crack the Bloodstained Mire at the end of the turn. So I will untap with 4 mana. That means I can cast any one of these 4 drops that's in my hands. The Rampaging Raptor it's like a questing beast, sort of, that has fire breathing. Seasoned Dungeoneer, of course, you know, Canadian Highlander, All-Star Seasoned Dungeoneer, and then the Red Cap Gutter Dweller. Blood Crypt, going to come into play tapped. Take a fresh draw step off the top. Great scenario would be is if I had a land, so I don't have to tap the Caracas. There it is. Red Cap Gutter Dweller is going to enter the battlefield along with a couple of 1/1 rats. And once again, this Caracas is going to be able to take care of the Oswalds. Oops, I forgot my rat tokens. Oswald going back to hand, continuing to do the best Rishadan Port impression that I think I've seen any creature do. My cat's here. Hi, Sarah. Jeremiah is going to fetch a Triome out of the library. We'll head back his way in just a second. Listen, if you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe to the channel. We've got all kinds of Canadian Highlander content coming to you in 2024. Make sure you hit that notification button so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. Head on over to Twitch. All of these tournaments are live streamed over there. Old Cranky Man Collectibles at Twitch. Jeremiah, untap, and a draw step. Lots of mana, a few cards in hand. Here's 2. Oswald's back. Here is 2 more mana. It is a Grim Monolith. Jeremiah, just 1 card left in hand as we head back to me. I'll untap, and in the upkeep, I'm going to sacrifice one of those rats. That's going to exile a Kolaghan's Command once again off of the top. Insane stuff. I have top deck like a complete sack this game. Here's the K command. That's going to take care of Oswald and the Grim Monolith. Jeremiah is going to make 3 colorless mana before that Grim Monolith goes away. I am going to add the NT Cynical of the Sun. Swords to Plowshares is going to take care of the Red Cap Gutter Dweller before the NT trigger, I believe. Inti's going to trigger. I'm going to discard the Seasoned Dungeoneer. That'll exile a Polluted Delta off of the top. Jeremiah is going to go down to 12. Polluted Delta's land for turn. Head back his way. What does the top of his deck have for him? Terminus here would be great. Nope, it's just an Oni Cult Avil, and that is going to do it. I win this game 2-0, and I won the pod this week. So this dad is in pod 1, back in pod 1. I believe I'm in 3rd place. No spoilers for week 3, but I will tell you, it did not go as well as I had hoped. That's going to be it for this video. Once again, subscribe, comment down below why the companion app sets vintage to 40 life, and we will definitely see you guys in the next one. Bye.